Right now, as I speak, the Federal Reserve is claiming that their inflation rate for 2021 is projected at 2 or 3%. I really challenge anybody to find something they could buy this year for only 2 or 3% more than last year. I really do. Not only that, but it's hard enough to find the exact same product as you can find years ago. I've noticed when I shop at the grocery store, I talked about this in other videos, they always find multiple ways to hide price increases. They make their packages smaller, that's pretty obvious, but sometimes they substitute ingredients. For example, if you go to buy laundry detergent, not only is the entire package smaller, sometimes the percentages in the active ingredients also becomes less. And I noticed that because as somebody with dietary restrictions, with eczema, I have to pay attention to ingredients. And it always catches my eye when ingredients change because I have to read that every time. And unfortunately, even something as simple as a bottle of hydrogen peroxide, this one is 32 ounces. But one thing I have noticed, I pay attention to a lot of these details, is when I look at the expiration date on the bottle. This one expires in January of 2022. It used to be when you bought a bottle of peroxide, you used to have at least 3 years until expiration. I think a lot of people are stocking up. I think that's one of the problems. But I've noticed that the stores are becoming more and more liberal with how bad products can be and still be sold, right? It used to be that at the grocery store, a pack of meat used to have at least 3 or 4 good days. Now you're lucky if you could buy a packet that has even 1 day left, right? It used to be if you had 1 day left, they would slash the price in half, right? Not anymore. Anyways, I've noticed that quite a bit. That they'll at the same time that they're raising prices, the packs are getting smaller, the quality is getting less. The experience of going to the store is also less, and a host of other cutbacks. So I thought I would compare some prices from 1940s, but using, wow, my camera thinks that's a real face, but using an honest currency like gold. So bread, 1940, standard slice bread, which is tricky, right? Because the same pack of bread that you could buy in 1940, high fructose corn syrup didn't exist. Most of the bread today has high fructose corn syrup, so we're not even comparing apples to apples anymore, right? There's been a lot of cutbacks, but even then, let's take a look. In 1940, gold was $35 an ounce. Divide by 8 cents. You used to be able to buy 437.5 loaves of bread with an ounce of gold. Now today, a pound of those delicious carbs today, which are very different, right? But it costs you $1.35, and there's probably a lot of cutbacks, right? What used to contain sugar, maybe even unrefined sugar, right, now contains high fructose corn syrup. The price of gold today, it's about $1,700. We're actually at a little bit of a dip now. It was $2,100 not that long ago. Divide by 1.35. So you used to be able to buy 400 loaves of bread with that ounce of gold. Now you can buy 1,200. Now think about that. What's happened between 1940 and today? A lot of technology, obviously, right? It's no surprise that with the same resources you can produce more, right? So I'm recording this with a 20.3 megapixel camera, probably more pixels than the camera we took on Voyager 2, right? 1940. What was going on in 1940 in terms of we didn't have any satellites yet, obviously. I'm trying to think what mission we had involving cameras. Obviously, this was before World War II. Our first mission to the bottom of the ocean was 1960, right? This is the computer I'm using is a ThinkPad. It has 64 gigabytes of RAM. You can imagine what we can do today for a fraction of the cost that it took 70 years ago, right? It's no surprise that with the same resources you could produce 3 times more bread. But moving on, potatoes. Okay, potatoes probably haven't changed all that much, except that they probably contain a whole lot more pesticides today than they did in 1940, right? 23 cents a pound in 1940, $4.27 a pound today. $35 divided by 23 cents. You used to be able to buy 150 pounds. Now you can buy 1,700 divided by 4.27, 374. No surprise there, right? Better technology, prices have slashed in half, right? Most people have a dozen eggs stored in their fridges at all time. Today it's $1.46. 1940 was just 33 cents, about 100 pounds of 100 dozens of eggs for an ounce of gold. In 1940, now you can buy 1,000, right? 10 times, right, for the same ounce of gold. No surprise there, right? The equipment we have on the farm. Bananas, my favorite, right? 57 cents a pound today, so for an ounce of gold, about 3,000 pounds. 1940 was 6 cents a pound. Let's see, $35 divided by 6 cents. Used to be able to buy 583. So again, the price has been cut by a factor of 6, right? By 80-some%. So notice how we could go down the list, but I think all the numbers are going to be very similar. Everything today costs about 20% of what it did in 1940, right? What has happened between 1940 and today? We've gone to the moon. We've discovered, how many chemical elements have we discovered? In 1940, we had everything up to uranium, neptunium, and plutonium were discovered during the war. And the rest of the transition elements, and then everything after that period in the transition elements. Now we have the element right below radon. Can't remember the name. So at least 30 more chemical elements have been discovered. Most notably plutonium, which is used in nuclear weapons, obviously also used in a different isotope, is used in space missions to provide power when we're away from solar power. We've gone to the moon. We've left the solar system with our Voyagers. We've landed on Saturn's moon, Titan. Lots of other space missions, obviously. Obviously, we've had the other developments during other conflicts between then and now, right? We have obviously major platforms for trading gold and silver that we didn't back then, right? And the commodities. Obviously, I'm using a computer with 64 gigabytes of RAM to write machine learning for predicting the market and potentially contact tracing for the pandemic, right? Obviously, this pandemic could have been a whole lot worse. For one thing, technology has allowed people to work remotely and prevent the spread, and to do the contact tracing, right? So it's no surprise that things should be a whole lot cheaper, right? We've all been brainwashed to think that the cost of living ought to go up every year, right? And even then, we're lied about how much it goes up. And it's not really going up, right? It's the value of the dollar going down. And even then, we're being lied about how much